Hi TC Food Justice volunteers. This is an instructional video on how to use our new web app called Veggietables. We're really excited. It should make things easier as far as food rescues are concerned. It should be easier to enter your food rescue data and sign up for shifts and schedule absences. We're really excited. So here's an instructional video on how to get started. First step is finding Veggietables. You can go to our website, tcfoodjustice.org, click on Get Involved, and then the third option is Veggietables, which has a link to our web app. What I'm doing here is I'm bookmarking Veggietables web app in my Google Chrome, which means that I can then go and reference that on the Chrome on my cell phone, so that when I'm on the go, I can use Veggietables and enter data after a food rescue. For folks that don't use Google Chrome on their cell phone, you can easily just use whatever browser you're comfortable using. Go to Veggietables from your cell phone and then bookmark the site on your phone. This next set of instructions is only for folks who are brand new to TC Food Justice. If you've ever done a rescue with us before, we already have some of your food rescue data entered in this app. So if you are brand new with us, you're going to hit the sign up button and then enter your name into the little form. You're just creating an account with Veggietables. We'll need your name, your full name, your email, your phone number, and a password, and that's how you'll log in using your email and your password next time. For folks who have done rescues with us before, I have separate instructions on how to get into your account. We've got all your historical data on the amount of food that you've picked up in the past. So once you're done creating your account, if you're a brand new person, you'll see that there's a volunteer waiver and release of liability. Other volunteers have already done this with us before, but if you're prompted, you can just check that box again and re-sign the waiver. It's kind of an entry point into the app. Okay, and then we're to the home screen. So if you have volunteered with us before, we have all your information, and what we can do is recover your account by saying that you forgot your password, and that's just because a random password was automatically generated when we uploaded your information into the app. So if you've volunteered with us before, click that you've forgotten your password, enter the email address that you use to interact with TC Food Justice, and then hit send and open your email account, and you should have an email from admin at TC Food Justice asking for you to reset your password. Clicking on the link in the email, you'll be taken back to Veggietables and you can enter the new password for your account, something unique that you'll remember. So once you change your account password, you'll be brought back to the home screen like we just did with brand new volunteers. So the first thing I'm going to show you within the Veggietables app is your account information, and so we'll review that and make sure it's all up to date before we get started with signing up for rescues. Right now I'm just logging in with my personal account to give you guys an example of what it would look like when you're a volunteer with a handful of rescues under your belt. Looking at the home screen, we'll skip through those first things for now and look down at pickup stats. This section shows how long you've been volunteering with TC Food Justice, the number of pickups you've completed, the total pounds that you've rescued over time, your weekly average, and then the average size of each of your pickups. So this information is really helpful if you guys are including your volunteering on resumes and just to kind of keep track of your impact. So you also will see a graph there with information about your monthly totals. And then at the bottom of the home page, you'll also see some account information about yourself. And this we can change, and we're going to go up into the account settings right now and review those things. So clicking on your name, this is the account options. The first option is the volunteer waiver. You can go and reference this at any time if you've got questions about our policies. But going back to those other account options, we're going to go into settings and review our information. You can change your name and your phone number and carrier so that we can send automatic updates and reminders from Veggietables to your phone if you prefer. You can opt in and out of getting text messages and put your preference for the type of messaging you get from the app. SNCS means shifts needing coverage soon. And so that is an automatic email that's sent out to volunteers that are interested in picking up last minute shifts when folks schedule absences. So you can opt in and out of getting those emails. If you aren't interested in covering other folks' shifts, you can maybe opt out of that. You can choose whether or not you've got a car and your preferred type of transportation as well. Those are all the different things in the account settings. You can always go back at any time and reference the waiver for volunteering and see when you signed it. There's also the driving waiver that if you're using a personal vehicle, we want to see signed in the app. But if you've been with us for a while, it's okay if that's not up to date in the app. And then this final option within your account is a form where you can list when you're available for food rescues. And so you can change this over time. You can update it at any time you want, but the purpose of this is so that we can reference a list of folks who, for example, might want to do a new food rescue that we're starting on Fridays. And so, for example, this volunteer isn't available on Fridays, so maybe we wouldn't email them about this new opportunity. All right, next we're going to get into signing up for food rescue shifts. I'm clicking on Take Shifts and then Recurring Shifts to see a list of weekly options that are available to take. This entire list is pink, and that means that there's currently no volunteers taking the weekly shift. So we're looking for someone to sign up for the weekly shift to commit to a weekly food rescue on Monday at Panera Bread, for example. You can see the start time and the end time, and then some notes about the food rescue right on this main page about open shifts. But then if you want to see additional information without yet signing up, what you're going to go is go click on the info button and you'll see the details of this rescue. So the delivery location, the time of the pickup and drop off, any special notes, if there's current volunteers or past volunteers that have done this rescue, as well as people that also work with the donor location. There's also directions to get from donor to recipient, and you can also send yourself a Google Calendar appointment for the food rescue. But you'll see the detail within Panera Bread. You'll see all the different instructions for doing the food rescue. And so this really gives you the opportunity to try rescues that you've never done before because all the information, instructions, and address and time and date is all there. So we didn't sign up for that rescue. We want to maybe go in and check a different rescue. We want to look at the details for this Wednesday one, for example, and the notes say that it's only on the first and third Wednesday of the month. So it's not quite a weekly rescue. In this example, you'll see that there's very detailed instructions on the pickup from Eastside Food Co-op, as well as how to deliver at St. Kate's Food Shelf. You can always ask our volunteer if you have questions about a rescue. But this one I clicked sign up for the weekly rescue and it says, are you sure? Yes. And now you get a green bar that says you are now a weekly volunteer signed up for this rescue. I clicked to add it to my calendar, and then I'm adding it as a repeating invite on my calendar, saving it and going back to the app over here. Now we can go back to those list of recurring shifts, and the one that we just chose, that Wednesday rescue from East Side of St. Kate's, no longer appears because you took it. So we can also look at one-time shifts. These are things that occur when volunteers schedule absences and need someone to cover for them. So that's something you can look for if you're not maybe able to commit to a weekly food rescue, or you've just got some spare time and want to help out a little bit more. So you can look again at the info on those one-time shifts. And the really cool thing is all this detailed instruction makes it easy to do these rescues, even if you've never specifically been, for example, to Breadsmith and done that rescue. You can refer exactly to where the address is and exactly how to do the rescue, whether or not you've got all the supplies you'll need. There's details here, for example, that this food delivery is the next morning, so that you're not delivering immediately from donor to recipient. So I just clicked cover shift, and now if we go back to the home screen, you'll see that we just covered that one-time shift, and we also signed up for a weekly rescue. So now in your upcoming pickups list, it'll show on the right part of the screen, you'll see a list of things that are coming up in the next 7 days as far as food rescues are concerned. You can go back and see the information again. And then here you'll see a list of absences that need covering. These are other folks' volunteer shifts where they've scheduled an absence and can't take it. So right from the home screen, you can choose to take someone else's one-time absent substitute rescue. So going to the tab that's called Your Shifts, I'm looking at my regular shifts that are weekly, and then my upcoming shifts. So my regular shifts only had 2, but my upcoming shifts had 3 because we signed up for a substitute rescue. So again, you can see all the details on that there. What we're going to do next is see how to schedule an absence within the app. And this will remove you from your weekly shifts if you have to be out of town for any reason or can't make your shift. So the scheduling absence feature only works if the rescue is 3 days or farther away. For anything shorter than that, you still need to contact our volunteer coordinator and let them know so they can find a last-minute replacement. We like to have at least 3 days notice for any shifts where you're going to have to schedule an absence. So in this example, I've scheduled a 2-day absence where I'll be out of town, coming up more than 3 days in the future. And so you start your absence on a day and it ends another day. So if you're signed up for a few rescues, all at once you're scheduling absences from any of your weekly shifts. Once you submit your absence form, you'll get this success note on top, and it tells you how many shifts you are scheduled an absence for. And note that you can only schedule an absence that takes you off of 12 shifts. So if you're going to be gone for 4 or 5 months, let us know by email and we'll take you off the weekly shift instead of scheduling it as an absence. And then I went to your shifts and I looked at my absences, and this lists the absence that I just created, and then just as an example I deleted it so you can see that you can also remove absences if you come home early or if you were experiencing car trouble and your car got fixed faster than expected, for example. This tab here is looking at the list of active volunteers, and you can opt in and out from being included on this list, but this allows you to see information about other volunteers that might have helped you on a shift before if you need to contact them for any reason. Most of your interactions should be coming through our volunteer coordinators and interacting with TCFJ staff, but in case you do need to get a hold of another volunteer, that information is there. And if you don't want your information shared broadly to the volunteer team, you can opt out of having your information on that list by checking your box or unchecking the box in your settings in the account section. Here comes the fun part. We're going to look at how to enter data when you're doing a food rescue. So right on the home screen, you'll see to-do pickup reports. Those are pickup reports that are today or in the past. So anything that's happening today or that's happened in the past will be listed here on your pickup reports. You can click the red button to fill out the information. And the really cool thing about this is that most of the form's already filled out for you. A lot of the stuff that's included in our old volunteer form automatically is generated because the shift already knows that you're doing it. It already knows where you're going and the date of the rescue. So all that information is included in the details, which collapse and expand. But maybe let's say you had a friend come along, so you can add their name as a volunteer that wasn't initially on the schedule. But you can enter how you picked up or how you transported the food, the weight of the total donation, the summary of food types. And again, here we want to be pretty detailed and list all the different types of fruits and vegetables that are included in a donation. If, for example, you're getting, 50 or 60 different types of fruit, you don't have to list them all, but list the top 10 different fruits and veggies that you're getting in a donation. Just listing out the names of the types of food is just fine. You can list the weight of the compost and then the length of the shift in hours. And then if you do have any comments, concerns, or notes about the rescue, if something went wrong, if a location was closed, or if a recipient, for example, is running out of some of their food rescue supplies, you can put that information right here in the form. And then if you hit flag and that little checkbox at the bottom, that will flag that an admin reviews the entry so that we can coordinate and get those supplies to the recipient in this case, making sure that they're all stocked for their supplies. And that's it. You successfully entered your data. It's nice and quick. This app works on cell phones as well, so you can do it after you do your rescue. All right, so those are all the main features of our brand new web app, Veggietables. Thanks so much for listening, and please let me know if you have any questions. As always, me and the volunteer coordinator are available by email or cell phone if you do have questions about using the new app or questions about the food rescues that you're doing. We're really excited for the app. We think it's really going to help with scheduling food rescues and picking up those absence shifts and entering the data about rescues. I think it'll really streamline things for you guys. We're excited that it's mobile friendly, so you can enter all of this information on a smartphone right from Google Chrome. And just thank you guys so much for being such wonderful volunteers. We're really hopeful that this makes the volunteer experience even that much more fun now that you can see all that information about the rescues you've been doing and get to that 1,000-pound food rescue club. So let us know if you have questions. Thanks so much, and we'll see you at a food rescue. Take care.